Welcome to the Sports Sesh podcast. I'm your host, Sesh Shotwell, and my co-host is James Evans. Today we've got yet another guest on. We've got UFC lightweight Joe Solecki. Cheers for joining us, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming on once again. Obviously, from the background, I'm seeing you're in your car. Have you just got back from training or something, mate?
Yeah. Heading back to, I train back and forth between a couple different places. Two of my gyms are like an hour and a half apart. And then once a week we go up to Gym O, which is about 4 hours from us. We got a real big hub up there of some really, even though we're in a small area in the Carolinas over here in the U.S., it's we got a small gym with, 7, 8, 9 guys in big promotions as far as we got Scott Holtzman and Brian Barberena, myself in the UFC. Impic Saganai, who's on the Contender series second time this year. He should be in the UFC. John Salter, my coach, is in Bellator. We've got Chris Honeycutt fights. Oh, he was in Bellator, then he fought over at ACA and beat Shlemenko. So worth the drives. We get to some great places, but unfortunately, my car is home base a lot of times.
How has your training been going through this whole quarantine period?
It's been great. The first maybe the end of March was a little shaky. We were like sneaking in the gym at night and then just doing our strength and conditioning during the day. So we were doing like double sessions at night. Still getting the same work in, but it's still in the back of your mind like, man, no, I'm used to being in the gym 3 times a day or whatever it might be. And then I think somewhere in April, they said pro athletes were essential, or at least allowed to train. I don't know how essential we are, but and then we started getting back to regular. So pretty much I've been in a camp for like 20 weeks, because I was supposed to fight in June, and then that fell through. I got sick and had to pull. I would have fought if it was a regular flu season. I didn't test positive for COVID, but so I just been in a camp for like 20 weeks, but it's back to normal Easter training, so can't complain on that end.
Obviously, you touched upon yourself. You're in the gym 3 times a day, necessarily, and just from your sort of standpoint, you obviously were scheduled to fight in June. What was your sort of daily routine when it comes to the training camp? And also, can you explain to the fans and the viewers out there what it's like going through a training camp?
Yeah, absolutely. By then we were pretty much back to normal, so I was just every single day is a little different, but pretty much my Monday and Wednesday are the same. My Tuesday and Thursday are the same. And then Fridays and Saturdays are a little different. Monday, Wednesday, we do, I do like a lot of low base stuff. So I'll run or I'll bike or something like that. That was because the PI, they really helped me with some of that, seeing where I could maybe improve and stuff like that. And then I'll train 3 martial arts sessions that day. So I'll box, I'll grapple, and then I'll drill kickboxing. And then Tuesday and Thursdays, a little different. We go to strength and conditioning in our town with our coach Hudson Rose at Hudson Rose Athletics. And he's been awesome. We've been there a year now, or either just under or just over a year. And man, I used to lift a lot of weights. I used to do a lot of sprinting, and I worked really hard, but I was always jacked up. I kind of peaked as far as strength. Like I couldn't get any stronger. I was kind of just hurting. I wasn't getting any stronger on my lifts or anything like that. And all of a sudden, we're using the Kaiser machine, which is air resistance. We're doing movement patterns and medicine ball, complexes where we're doing different kind of slams and footwork and all kinds of things where I'm actually seeing myself get better as an athlete, which I didn't think I'd be able to do. Sometimes it's just you chalk it up to like I'm either born as a good athlete or I'm not, and not the case. So we do that, and then we go and we drill kickboxing, we wrestle. I got such a great team over at Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu to train with, and then at night I'll hit pads, box, and grapple again on Tuesday and Thursdays, and then Wednesdays we spar. Fridays we get a hard conditioning in, either like a hill sprint or like we've been doing a lot of like fight simulation stuff when we think we have a fight coming up. Kind of hard to do now. We're just kind of guessing and then going after it. And, if we don't get the fight, so what? And then Saturdays, we all get together. Saturdays is awesome because where we're at Salty Dog, we get people coming from all towns, and it's kind of like a big, giant training session. We'll do like one technique, and then we roll real hard. And then after that, all the regular members kind of clear off, either go home or sit on the side, and then all our pros spar. We've been really lucky. We got a lot of people coming through and a lot of different body types, and we get after it. So it's a fun time. It's a grind, but it beats the heck out of a lot of other options.
Obviously, you're supposed to fight Austin in June. Have you contacted the UFC? Have they been in touch as to whether or not you are scheduled to fight the same guy again, or are they matching you up with a different opponent? Can you sort of give us a hint as to what's next?
Yeah. So pretty much what happened was I tested positive for COVID. I was fine, and then was able to train that week because I had a couple other teammates going through the same thing, so we just got in the garage together. Kind of like the undesirables. We were like off on our own, you know. But, you know, we kept at it, so I haven't missed a beat. And then I sent my negative test results back in. We were good. I was offered somebody different than Austin, and we said yes. And then they said, I guess because of where he was with quarantine, you know, right now is not the time to like knock anybody for not being in shape or not being able to train. So I won't do that. But he just wasn't ready. They said that he needed another week or two, so it was going to be August 1st. I was like, dude, we're in, perfect. And then they said, well, he needs another week or two. And I was like, okay, great, that's fine, I'll wait. And then just never heard anything. And then they said, well, September, and I'm having a baby in September, so my August was kind of my cutoff, or I'll come back in the fall, October, November. So I kind of, for the first time, I had to say no, even though I wasn't saying no to the opponent. We were waiting for him. And then I just never heard anything. And then here recently, Monday, I was tentatively offered maybe in the next few weeks here in August. So, but I haven't heard anything back yet. So it sounded like maybe it could be Hubbard or somebody in that area of the rankings. So there's a couple different names brought up. So nothing set in stone, but it would be cool to fight him or anybody, man. I really just want to get in there, ideally, you know, before September. But if not, I'll come back in the fall and just chalk this time up as more time to get better. And I had a whole year of improvement, as much as it sucks to be out of competition without being injured. It is what it is. I can't control it, so I'll just come back better.
Well, I know you made your way to the UFC via the Contender Series. How did it feel getting the call from the UFC saying they want you to compete on the Contender Series?
Oh, man, absolutely life-changing. You know, just the opportunity to know that you're going to get seen by a lot of people. You have an opportunity to prove yourself. And then also, I think people don't talk about it enough. Everybody talks about lack of pay, which drives me nuts because, you know, just be appreciative. But is the fact that you're going to make more to show than you will probably to show, win, and ticket sales on a regional show. So that was just in itself was like, man, what an opportunity. And yeah, I knew it was a life-changing opportunity, and I just had to do everything I could to train hard for it, be ready, and then soak it all in. I'm really bad at that, is like taking everything in, enjoying it. But I tried. I didn't do a good job of it, but I tried to like take pictures and like, you know, we don't know when we're going to get back here at the PI or whatever it was, and tried to enjoy it with my family and my teammates, and it was good, man. It was great. What a blessing.
And obviously, in the Contender Series, for those who don't know, obviously you defeated James Wallace. And my question is sort of similar to Mason's. Obviously, you got the call to fight in the Contender Series. You won. And how did it feel to sort of hear afterwards that Dana was like, yeah, we want you in our company? Yeah,
it was, it felt like I was like waiting to a lot of times as a competitor, I have these dreams like in the middle of the week. You're like, oh my God, I missed weight. What am I doing? Why am I drinking soda? I have to weigh in today. And then you wake up and it's a Wednesday morning. You're like, oh, I get up and go train, like whatever. Or I'm in the Pan Am finals of jiu-jitsu. I wake up, I'm like, oh, it felt like that. Like not even being funny. Like very rarely do I get like shaken or like, even in like big moments, like my wedding, whatever. Like I'm always like very present. It felt like everything was like hazy. Like this doesn't feel real. You know, it's very, very weird just because it seems so far off. And everything happened so fast, from getting the call to go compete there to the training camp to everything, where I was like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I just won. And I think he just said I get a UFC contract. Like I was at the point where like going into that, I felt like, and a lot of guys in the regional scene probably feel like this, is like you're telling all your friends and your family why you're doing this, and you had this goal. And after a while, a couple of years go by, and it's not this fresh new goal anymore. Everybody starts like being like, hey, you're going to get a job, you're going to settle down, have a family. And you start to feel like you're going crazy because people think you're going crazy. And I was like right at that cusp of like, I think I'm losing my mind, or everybody else thinks I lost my mind. So for that to happen, it was just, I don't think I've ever been that happy my entire life. I probably will be when my baby girl comes in September, and that'll probably be the only thing that ever tops it. It was, or when I, fight for a world title one day, is the only things that I think are going to top that.
Obviously, how did it feel to not only make your UFC debut, but to win on your UFC debut?
Yeah, another surreal. It was just one after the next, and what was really cool was it was close to home for me. It was on the East Coast over here, so like halfway between where I grew up and where I live now. And I had so many people come out, teammates that help me now, friends, family. All my family could come down from where I'm from. It was only like a 3-hour drive for them, which was cool because a lot of them have been to some fights. My father has never seen me fight. He was there for my UFC debut, and I think that was really big for him to see that. It meant a lot to me. My grandfather. And then my lifelong instructor came, and I was just talking about that this morning with somebody. was like, after all the chaos, everybody went home, and my wife and I got up. We had breakfast with my lifelong jiu-jitsu instructor who got me into the sport, and just sat for like 2 hours, just laughed and had old stories. And it was just like, man, it's come full circle. Like, he used to come coach me when I was literally 6 years old, and now I'm 26 years old fighting in the UFC, and he was in the crowd with tickets that I was able to, get him tickets. And it's like, dang, like, surreal. Just so surreal to be in a position to, like, I can't give back much. I'm not Conor McGregor. I can't buy my coach a car or anything like that. But just some stupid tickets or the opportunity for a cool night out and some memories is like, that feels good. You just be able to do that. It was cool. I got to do that for a lot of people the last fight.
Well, I know at your UFC debut, towards the end of the fight, there was a bit of a controversial moment where he was a bit of trash talk. Can you tell us what went on there?
Yeah, he was just talking to me the entire time, just stupid stuff the entire fight. But I knew I don't want to get emotional in a fight ever. I just don't think there's a purpose for that. I'm like, I try and be calm, cool the whole time. And he was jawing the whole fight. That didn't hurt. It's gonna take more than that. Or sometimes he just like say my name, Joe. And I was like using it to almost calm myself down. But at the end, I was just sick of it because I felt like I had really bested him. Like 10-8 round in the first round. Second round was pretty solid. In the third round, I came back like the first round and put it on him again. And he still just wasn't like, it wasn't. I had this thing where I always feel like everybody's putting me down, or like, I think it's just from like training as a little kid, feeling insecure. And I felt like he wasn't treating me like a peer, And I'm like, dude, like, you have 17 fights in the UFC. I just beat you. So I felt like I should have had respect. I didn't feel like I was getting respect. So he was like, what are you going to do? And that's when I said, put you out of a job. And then I kind of woke a sleeping dog there because I should have let him lie. Because then he kind of had a last little come alive the last few seconds. But, I didn't want to hurt his feelings right now. That's not really, sometimes, he just struck a nerve and I kind of fired back, and it is what it is. But we talked the next day. It was all good. So, and he's a super nice guy. I think he was frustrated. Didn't go the way he wanted. I was mad. I didn't think he was giving me respect. And then we talked the next day at breakfast. It was actually pretty cool. Nice guy. And I wish the best for him.
Have you ever sort of had to make any sacrifices to reach the pinnacle of the sport?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest thing was just time and money, and relationships with people. I've gone through times in my life where like me, on the Contender series, I said, we had a lot of broke nights. And then when I was back home after the Contenders, like maybe like a week after, my aunt was asking me, she's like, what's a broke night? And I was like, well, a broke night is when me and my wife would, it'd be August or, whatever, the first of the month, and rent's due. And we cash our paychecks and we're $150 short. And we go to our change jar that we were sharing and, go to the coin machine and cash it in to get cash. And we barely skid by to payday, or, selling stuff on, selling anything I had of value on Christmas to buy 4 gifts for my family, and they don't know that. That's stuff that people do when they have drug problems and stuff. Like, it's just crazy, and that's kind of what we went through. We went through that for like 3-4 years. And until the Contender series is like, we were still going through that, and now we're in a position where we can live kind of a normal life. And, very, very fortunate, very blessed. Now we're just going to try and make it even better. But that was the biggest thing. We always say we were broke, we weren't poor. Poor is a mindset, but we were definitely broke for the better part of 4 years. And that just goes to my wife, just sticking it through and just seeing it when I couldn't see it, after losses and stuff. And she would sit there and be like, I think you're gonna be everything you said and then more, and I didn't feel that way anymore. So it takes a special group of people behind you, because after a while you will, I don't care what anybody says, you will lose belief in yourself. And you got to have those people that are going to catch you and just keep pushing you forward, because after a while you can only take so much doubt and so much anxiety and stress, and you just need that support system. And that was probably what we sacrificed the most, that and my wife's time. Like, other guys that have jobs out of college and stuff and degrees, like, you take your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife on vacation, or you take her out to a nice dinner or whatever it might be. You don't go, oh man, I won my fight, we can pay your rent, so, hey, but you know what? It is what it is. It's like we were talking about this last night. I was talking about it with some family, and we were laughing, and high risk, high reward, and fortune favors the bold. So sometimes it works out.
Well, I know you've got 2 losses on your career. How did you, when you lost them fights, how did you bounce back and like overcome the defeat?
I just get in the gym on Monday, man. It's something we laugh about it, and we were talking about this kind of with going forward. I'm like, dude, here's the thing. I've lost now. I've been decisioned. I've been knocked out. Hopefully I never get submitted, just because then I feel like I got to turn my black belt in, But so now it's almost like the worst is over. It can happen again, yeah, of course. But I've seen that the sun comes up the next day. life goes on. And win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be in the gym Monday, whether I can. Usually I train. If I'm busted up, broken, I'll find a way to be in the gym, just hanging out, whatever. So it's just work. I really think like all I can do is get back to work. Win, lose, or draw, because afterward, a win is awesome. You feel great. But for me, I'm going to think all the things I did wrong. I'm going to relax for like 2 days. Be like, oh, this was nice. That food that I wanted, it didn't taste that. It tasted good, but it made me sick. I don't want to eat it like that again. I'm going to do one cheat day. I'm going to take off, and then I'm going to go, okay, we're back home. My wife's back at work. It's me and my dogs staring at each other. I love them, but I got to get purpose again. I got to get back in the gym because I just can't sit still, and I think that's the biggest thing is win, lose, or draw. They're kind of similar feelings afterward. Yeah, one, you feel better about it. But here's the thing is I was happy after the Wyman fight for like a day. It was nice to get get 2 checks. That's always great. But in reality, it's all the same. It's the journey. And after the losses, it's the same thing. There's always going to be those moments. I still do it probably every other day where I think back on one of those losses and I go, man, I should have done this. Oh, well, that's with you for life. But other than that, it's really the sun comes up and we get back to work. That's all I can do.
From your sort of perspective, how important is the mental sort of side of a mixed martial arts?
Oh, I think it's tremendously important, but I think the bigger than that is like having, whatever you believe in. For me, I'm a Christian and my faith has been huge. So I feel like I'm in this walk to just be a good man. That's my goal. And I think martial arts is that path for me to help others and all that. And just having faith in the process. But what goes along with that is, I have best friends one of my best friends is a Muslim, and we talk about our faith and stuff, or whatever you believe in, I think just having strong faith, but also is being realistic, right? So like understanding, you see these mind tricks all the time of like, I don't get tired. And then you get tired and you unravel, and like the guy that replaced me, and he seems like a great fighter and a nice guy. But against Austin Hubbard, he was saying things in the interviews leading up, like, I only need 1 round to finish him. Or, I took it on short notice, but I'm ready to go for 100 minutes if I need to. And then when he fades, you could see him, all the stuff he said was like, he was trying to trick himself. It didn't work. I'd rather be realistic, man. That's why when everybody asks me for a prediction, you'll always hear me say the same thing. I'm going to war for 3 rounds. I'm ready to die in there. Because if I expect that and then he gives up his neck in a minute, awesome. If I'm doing the Conor McGregor going, I'm going to starch him in 1 minute, and all of a sudden it's round 2, expectation, root of all suffering, and then I'm just, oh my God, how's he still here? That's, so I don't believe in like a lot of the mental coaching. I think you just got to be honest with yourself and be tough. But I think mindset in the sense of you callous your mind over time through hard work and ups and downs. That's the fight game.
What's the hardest part about being a martial artist?
Man, I really don't. I haven't really found the hard part. I mean, you're gonna have bad days. And I always say like a 6-to-1 good bad day to good day ratio. If you're doing the right things, you're always gonna be tired. You're always gonna be sore. The sacrifices we talked about, but that's life. That's anything. My dad worked for a company and was like an accountant, and he's just a hardworking, just dude, like double knee surgery, crutches into the office that same day to go work and things like that. And I see people like that all the time. But he's working just as hard as what he does, so I might as well be something that I love and I'm passionate about. So, I mean, hard, I guess you're going to be sore all the time. You're going to be tired, but it's a good sore. It's a good tired. And the great part is this is only for a short time. I'm going to fight till I'm, 35, maybe 40 if I'm a crazy person, which I kind of am. But then after that, I'm going to get to look back and enjoy it all and be like, man, look at what I did, whether it was good, bad, whatever. And, other people are working until, and then I'll go to something else after that. Maybe I'll teach and pass it on. But other people are hating their life, hating their job until they're in their late 60s, waiting to retire, So, yeah, I'm going to be sore. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to have a little anxiety about my opponent wanting to beat me up in 6 weeks. But there's really nothing hard about it. I mean, repetition, but I like it. I like doing the same thing over and over again. I'm a routine guy. So, it's easy for me. I enjoy it.
What's your favorite thing about being a martial artist?
Man, I think, honestly, I love the hard work, and I think it's satisfying, and I think you get to see cool places, and those are great benefits. But I genuinely, it sounds cheesy, is the people. You meet so many people who you would never, ever meet in your life. I was talking about this last night, is like when I came to my gym at home we switched gyms when I was 8 or 9, and I was in adult class since I was 9. And I was going home, and I told my mom, I was like, I made a friend today at class. And she's like, oh, wow, what's his name? I said, it's Emery. And now this guy's a black belt under my instructor. He's like probably in his 40s now. And we talk all the time still. Great guy. Awesome. I was 9. So she comes to pick me up, and she's like, "Oh, how's it going?" Guy comes up, "Hey, how's it going, Miss Solecki? I'm Emery." He's like a 33-year-old man. She's like, "Wait, what?" So like at 9 years old, I'm in the gym hanging out with him. There's another guy, Joel, all these guys that I train with back home. I was 9 years old, and not like little kid, like, "Oh, hi, buddy," like talking about life with these guys at 9, 10, 11. And it's like, what other kid gets that upbringing, And now it's the opposite. Now I'm not the little kid in the room. I'm the black belt at most of these gyms that I go to. So now maybe I'm dealing with white belts that have different walks of life. I'm learning about stuff. Maybe I don't know anything about a gun, and then I meet a guy that we have trained with owns a gun store. Or maybe I don't know anything about, farming, and this guy's got chickens. He's bringing me eggs. Or you learn about life through people. It's just kind of wild, man. I think that's the best part of martial arts. And the best part about it is you don't have to be a career martial artist to do that. You can just train at a jiu-jitsu gym twice a week, and you make that connection with people. And the crazy part is what I was saying. Me and my brother were talking about this. Is like, you turn on the news and the world is ending, and there's so much hate and all this stuff. And it sounds cheesy and cliche, but that stuff doesn't exist in martial arts because it would never last. If you were a racist, you're gonna get weeded out of the gym by natural selection. Not even the instructor telling you have to leave, although we probably will, if we found that out. But you won't be able to thrive in an environment where everybody from all walks of life gets along. And it's just crazy that I turn on the news, I get depressed because I'm like, man, like, I live in a whole nother world that isn't like that. So it's hard for me to understand that. So I think that's the biggest benefit is like, you almost get to step out of all the nonsense and just get to know people for who they are. You got friends of all walks of life. And I think there's nothing better.
You're on a 4-fight win streak. How much will that benefit you going into your next fight, do you reckon?
I mean, it feels great. It builds confidence, but at the end of the day, I think I heard Gaethje say it maybe, is like past toughness doesn't equate to present toughness, right? So if I stop doing what I did to get ready for those 4 fights, it doesn't matter. Like maybe in some fights I had great submissions, but if I don't train jiu-jitsu for a year, not going to happen. So I try and leave it where it is and take every fight as its own, but I definitely think it shows I learned from my losses. So I can kind of stop beating myself up for those losses and be like, dude, the guy that lost those fights, he's dead. I killed that guy. Now I'm a different fighter. So that part's good, but I'm taking each fight as it comes. I'm not thinking about the pressure of going 5, 6, 7 or climbing to the top 15. I'm just thinking about being the best I can be and whoever they put in front of me for that fight. And then I'll worry about the next thing next.
At what age did you get into MMA?
So I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 6, and then I didn't start fighting until I was 22. So I had just been competing in Jiu-Jitsu. I dabble in some sparring maybe 3 times a year. And it was basically like, keep my hands up, shoot it, and take them down. And then when I turned 22, some stuff happened in my life. I ended up dropping out of school and doing some things that everything kind of pushed me to fight. And I took a 7-week notice fight, and I got a crash course in MMA. So literally my MMA training didn't start till 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years in October, or 5 years, I'm sorry. And yeah, it was just a fast track. So I did 5 amateur fights in a year, went pro, and off to the races ever since.
You fought, well, at the age of 26, you fought at the top for a while now. What does it take to become a sort of successful fighter, in your opinion?
I think just discipline. This is, at least for me personally, everybody's got different. Some guys are born natural athletes, and, John Jones seems like the most undisciplined person there is. If you ask him, he talks about it, and it works for him. But I think for the rest of us mortals that aren't like him, that aren't, just doing the things that people don't want to do for as long as you possibly can. There's so many times where I've been in the gym on Christmas, or I've been the only guy in the room, or everybody else was, doing something they shouldn't be, eating bad, smoking pot, whatever it might be. And I've never done any of that, and not knocking anybody that does anything. Everybody's their own person. But for me, I think it was also knowing here that I was putting in stuff when nobody was, and the mental of thinking I'm outworking everybody. And it's worked for me, and sometimes it gets lonely, but I think that's my instructor used to say it, and I'm not at the top, and I know that, but I'd be in the gym working out when I was a little kid. He'd make up circuits for me. I'd be running the stairs with sandbags in the gym. I'd be like 15, 16, and he'd poke his head out and he'd be like, "It's lonely at the top," and then he'd just go back in his office. He wouldn't come out and coach me through it. He'd write down what to do and trust me to go do it. And he'd poke his head out. "It's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top." But it's true. It's just doing the stuff that nobody wants to do as much as you possibly can, not getting fat between training camps, not taking off from strength and conditioning between training camps. Just that's what's been for me. It's just that, and the devil's in the details. I'm never going to look at my boxing coach and go, "Dude, I don't want to jab today. I want to do that flashy 8-punch combo I saw Floyd Mayweather doing. Like, I don't get bored of that because that's what's going to make me better. So I think it's just doing the dog work every single day.
Who was your toughest opponent today, and what's been your toughest challenge, and why?
Man, that's a great question. It's hard. It'd be hard for me to not say the guys that beat me, obviously. But so obviously them, right? The one my second loss specifically because I was actually in the driver's seat for 2 rounds. Like, just felt like I was in control and landed a lot of punches on the ground, on the feet, and just he came back and won. But outside of those two, which I think are the obvious, is the guy that I fought before the Contender series in Philadelphia. I fought him at CFFC, Jacob Bone. Super tough guy, man. I rocked him twice in the first round and took him down in the second. Had his back where I was rear naked choking a bunch of people. Couldn't get under his neck. I'd be on the back and be like, okay, I can rest here. He'd slither out. He'd get on top. He'd throw it. I mean, down to the last minute, he got on top. I went for an arm lock, and he got on top, and he missed, thank God, 9 out of the 10 punches, and was like hitting the canvas. But man, was just like a dog. Like, would not go away. Tough dude. And you look at his record, like when we fought, he was 7-6. Now he's 10-6 or 10-7. Like, he's upset so many prospects that were supposed to go to big shows that I got done that fight and was like, man, you are probably the toughest guy I've ever fought. So probably him, man, because it was just he takes fights against the toughest guys he can find. He doesn't try to pad his record. So I have a lot of respect for him, man. We had a great, great fight. And really, if I didn't know, I talked to somebody in the locker room that fought him, and he's like, yeah, you're not going to finish him. Get that out of your head right now. And I was like, oh, no. And then I went out there and I rocked him twice. I didn't try to follow up too much. I went for the back. When I wasn't finishing him, I wasn't surprised because his reputation, and he lived up to every bit of it.
Why do you think you're the next big thing in the UFC lightweight division?
Yeah, I think, I don't know how to say it. I think I have everything it takes to be in the top 15, in the top 10, and then the top 5 and the fight for a title one day, But I don't think I'm the next big thing, if that makes sense. My goal is to be like a lot of these guys that you see, like the one that comes to mind a lot is like Jim Miller. He'll fight. He'll beat the heck out of somebody that had all the hype behind them. And then he disappears with his family for 3 months, trains, comes back and fights again. So I have no desire, and maybe don't show this to Dana White, but I have no desire to be Conor McGregor. Like, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be a billionaire. A millionaire would be nice, and I can live comfortably. I don't want to cross the threshold to, like, I don't want to be Israel. I don't want to be John Jones where I walk out and I have temptation in my life and all these things that I don't need, I just want to be a champion. Like, the guys that come to mind, Dustin Poirier, guys like that, Gaethje, normal dudes. So I want to be that. I want to be a champion. I want to be and I think what's going to set me apart is just discipline and then my fight IQ. I always say it, but there's a lot of guys faster, a lot of guys stronger, a lot of guys maybe better cardio, whatever it might be. But I think I just put it together better. Right? I think I can be that new generation of fighter and find a way to get it done no matter who's across from me.
Well, through MMA, who's been your favorite person that you've met from doing what you do?
In MMA?
Yeah.
Oh, man. There's too many to pick. But I would say, oh, man. All my coaches, man. I've met so many people that I've had some bad coaches. Obviously, I don't have them anymore, so I'm not offending anybody that I'm still with. But I've had some coaches, man, that were, drinking, getting drunk the night before the fight. Guys that were, late coming to the fight. Guys that were taking their girlfriend out to dinner for their anniversary the day of my fight. Like, stuff like that, And when you go through that and then you find the right coaches, you just appreciate them so much more. It's like being in a bad relationship, right? Then you meet, you're like, oh, you're so much better. You don't yell and scream at me. Same thing. And now the guys that I have, man, and I'll take a second just to shout them out. That's okay. But like I had John Hassett my whole life, and since I was a little kid, and my mom and I were talking about this last night. Is I had great parents, but she sent me to go with him when I wasn't with them. So I'm training with a guy that was instilling all the same things my parents want to instill, but it was at an age where it's not cool to listen to your parents. So now I got this instructor that I want to be like, and he's teaching me the same things that my parents teaching me at home. So it was like it kept me on the straight and narrow, and now I go back and I see him, and I almost appreciate him more now when I go back as an adult. And it's been amazing. And then I left there. I couldn't find anybody for a long time to like mentor me, and then I found my boxing coach, Chris Gowd. They did a little thing on us before we walked out in DC. He's a 2-time leukemia survivor, and man, just tough as nails. Like I think they pulled him right out of any stereotypical boxing movie as the trainer. Like he's that guy, just like grizzled, just like real quiet, knows a ton. You would never know it because he won't tell you until you go find him. And man, he's been through all my pro career with me and it's been amazing. And then through a seminar at the gym, I found John Salter, number one contender in Bellator. I had seen him fight when I was like a 17-year-old at a UFC. And I wasn't keeping up with the sport of jiu-jitsu or anything. I didn't know he went to Abu Dhabi. He was like this awesome competitor. And I wasn't watching Bellator too much or even really the UFC too much at that point. And I just hadn't followed his career. I didn't know how amazing he was. He came and taught a seminar at our gym. And I'm like, hey, where do you live? Where do you train? Like, this was amazing. And he was an hour and a half down the road. I ended up moving my whole life there. My wife and I moved. And now, not only is he a great coach, great training partner, one of my best friends. We get to hang out with him and his wife, and they've been such close friends to us and helped us a lot, and that's huge. And then through fights and seeing people at fights and I'm always the curious guy. Like, why is that guy holding pads that way? That looks pretty cool. We met Jeff Jimmo, who I had heard about for years, and you'll see him, but you won't see him. He's in the corner, Scott Holtzman, Brian Barberina, all these other guys that you're seeing climb the ranks, Impic Saganai. He's in the corner, and then he disappears. He's not in the picture afterward. He's not at the interview. He's just in it because he wants to help guys like us achieve our dreams. And then he dips out. He's in the car. He's going home. And that is amazing because I have 3 coaches in my corner that are there strictly for me. John has his own career. Jeff Jimmo doesn't want notoriety. He does it because he's a good human. And then Chris Gallup just wants to be part of something and help me achieve my dreams. So it's like, that's the first time in my life I had these selfless coaches. And then you add in our strength and conditioning coach, who I talked about earlier, Hudson Rose. The guys come in on Thanksgiving, training me because I had a fight in December. The guys give me the key to it. Oh, hop in if you need to. Here's this. He's checking on me. Flying out to Vegas or DC just to be there. He can't be in the corner. I have my 3 cornermen already. He's warming me up on fight day. It's just having people like that mixed with my wife is just I really don't know. Those are my favorite people I've met because they changed my life. Literally changed my life.
Which UFC fighter would you say you've looked up to the most?
So who I haven't met, I would probably say I really, really liked Frankie Edgar always. I'm from New Jersey. He's from New Jersey. He's tough as nails. He's a humble guy. If you're a family man, if you can't get behind that, him. I've always loved Chris Weidman. That was somebody that I kind of looked up to when I was coming up, and I still am coming up, but how he was in his parents' basement, had a family, and, just a wholesome guy, good human. And also for a while, I was part of a Sarah Longo or a Sarah Jiu-Jitsu affiliate that was in Myrtle Beach. It's no longer down here, but so that connection of like, oh, I could be like him maybe one day. Those 2 for sure have always been, and now I really look up to, I probably shouldn't because it's in my division, but he'll probably be long gone by the time I get where I want to go, is Dustin Poirier. I think he's just a great human being, man. Again, is fighting really tough fights and then being a regular person the second it's over, helping out his community, helping out people in need. And if I could do that and be, half the fighter in person those guys are, I think I'll be on the right track.
Out of the current crop at 155, if you could compare yourself to any sort of top lightweight, who would it be?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I don't know, man. There's bits and pieces I try and be like of everybody's game, and it's been funny because my teammate Scott Holtzman has been getting ready for some guys lately. Last one was Jim Miller, back taker, grappler. This time, Beneil Dariush, back taker, grappler. So I'm starting to see things they do that I do that might be similar on the back and stuff like that in the jiu-jitsu. So there's some things like them I think I can do, especially snatching the neck up, guillotines, things like that. Guys like that, more than likely. In the stand-up, I try and take things from, basics. I think basics win world championships. So I look at guys like, Poirier, we talked about it. I think he's a good defensive fighter. He gets in the pocket, throws basic punches. Quinta is another guy that I think just has, he's just so underrated. Like, you see him outbox Kevin Lee. You see him outbox this. He wrestles with Khabib. I think having that grit and toughness to stand in the middle and just hang in the fight. I think guys like that are people I resonate with, just build-wise, basics-wise, and the things we like to do.
So for those who don't know, what would you say is the best tool in your arsenal?
I think my fight IQ. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably say my grappling, but I think they go hand in hand. Is using the grappling to set up the striking, using the striking to set up the grappling, and then same thing on the ground is hopefully I'm setting up one thing and going for the other. It's just using my brain, using my gas tank to keep everything running in my brain so I can think deep into the fight and then making it happen.
Have you always been a good grappler, or was that something you had to work towards?
No, I was a terrible grappler, even though it was the only thing I did in my whole life. I never played any other sports. But from 6 to 16, I never won anything. And I always say it, and people think I'm kidding. And then I pull the photo album out of me standing next to the podium with a fourth place medal out of 4 people. Everybody else is on the podium. And they're like, oh, crap, you really weren't very good. I'm like, oh, no, I was terrible. So, no. And then once I hit 16, 17, I woke up one day and would just hit my stride. I just kept at it. My coach, John Hassett, would say, it's going to click. It's different for everyone. It will click. Just stick around. And I did. And then next thing you know, I was 19, 20, beating black belts when I was a purple belt, and then naturally getting into MMA, that was the thing I had to use to survive in the amateurs because I didn't have stand-up. Now I feel like it's catching up. I'm getting well-rounded. I feel great with my wrestling too, but I think I'll always be a grappler at heart.
Should some sort of deal go through this month, what are your plans for the rest of 2020/2021?
Yeah, I want to fight as often as possible. Obviously COVID made that tough, but hopefully this month. If not, I'll come back in the fall. I just want to fight however many times I can and, just work toward a better life for my family, keep climbing the rankings. Those rankings are deep at 155, man. You look in the 50s, 60s, 70s, have guys that you're like, man, those are some tough. There's no easy fights. So I want to stick around and prove my mettle here. I think if you can hang in the UFC 155 division, you can hang anywhere in the world in any division. I think it's a Shark Tank. So I just want to show that I belong here, man. I always find ways to discount myself, and I think other people do that for me too sometimes. And I'll look at the Wyman fight and say, well, he was on a losing streak, or he's a little older now, and not to discredit him, but I discredit myself. And I want those fights now to show that I belong here and keep proving myself. And to the people that support me, that we're going to be here for a long time.
Do you see yourself fighting the so-called big boys soon?
Man, with what's going on with COVID, maybe so, because they're kind of throwing the rankings outside of the top 5, 10 guys. They're like, here's number 15, you fight number 70, whatever. We need somebody to fill in. So, yeah, who knows? I mean, I think the thing we've learned this year is, well, what's funny is, fighters are more resilient than any other sport. And we're seeing that because we train at Hudson's with a lot of guys in the other leagues, and not those guys. Those guys are young like us, and they just want to go. They want to go play. Like, they're baseball players and in the major leagues and stuff like that. They want to go make their living, But the guys in the upper echelon are like trying to tell that major leagues, I don't think we feel safe with this. We don't want to work because they already made their money, You're seeing guys like Gaethje stepping up on 3 weeks' notice to fight Tony Ferguson because we know that fighters are more resilient than anybody. But I think what this year taught us is, be ready for literally anything. And it sounds so stupid, but it really ended up being true. And who came through better than fighters? Because that's what MMA is anyway, dude. Your opponent misses weight on the amateur scene the day of. They pop in some other guy who's 20 pounds heavy. Everybody's got stories like that. And we just learn to adapt. And I think that's what's really cool about fighting.
Based on that answer, from your perspective with the sort of UFC boxing debate, do you reckon the UFC can surpass boxing, or has it already surpassed boxing in your opinion?
I think I love boxing, but
yeah,
I think the crazy part about the UFC is what everybody loves is, like we just talked about. They'll put everybody against everybody. They'll put the best against the best. And guess what? Because it's a league, not a promoter, and each fighter doesn't have a promoter and a manager and a PR team, it's like, take it or leave it, dude. We can cut you. And now you got to fight. Tony Ferguson has to fight Gaethje, or Conor has to fight Khabib, or whatever it is, or you get sidelined and you get overlooked. And the thing about this sport is we don't build up records. So, boxing would hurt if Canelo sat out. But if Conor sits out right now, the only person that hurts is Conor. They're going to find somebody else to fill his shoes that's got hype around him. And now Gaethje Khabib's a bigger fight than Conor Khabib was. And so that's what's awesome about it. So I think in that sense, yeah, because it's the most interesting sport in the world because anything happens on any given night. But I still love boxing. I think boxing will be around forever. And I really hope so because I love to box, But there's always going to be those traditionalists that just want to watch straight jiu-jitsu, straight boxing, straight Muay Thai. And I like that too, so.
Which of the fellow contenders have impressed you the most recently?
On the Contender series, or?
It's just sort of on Fight Island recently.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I mean, I guess he's a contender again, but he's once the champ. Cody Garbrandt looked amazing. Gaethje looked darn near unbeatable. He's got me doing the same thing I used to do with Anderson Silva. I'd always think the next guy to fight Anderson was the guy to beat him. I wholeheartedly believe he's going to beat Khabib, But usually derails those right away. And then I think we saw that guy at 185, is it? That's fighting every other weekend right now.
Yeah, Chimaev.
Yeah, he's been really impressive. So there's been a lot of studs to show themselves during these times. It's crazy.
Out of all factors of MMA, which is your favourite one?
All the what? The fighters?
No, out of like when you train in MMA, out of all the different types of fighting, which is your favourite one in MMA?
Well, I think sparring day is my favorite because you get to put it all together, and I've been at it 5 years now, but it's still new to me, But I love wrestling because it's just the hardest workout there possibly is. So when you do that, and I didn't come up wrestling, you talk to some guys that wrestled their whole life, they like to take a day off from wrestling every now and then, but I'm making up for lost time. So I love that because it's a straight grind. And I really love it all. I love hitting pads because I feel like it's the ultimate, like, you're solving a puzzle, you're trying to react, but also use your body. You're getting tired. And it's that one-on-one with the coach where you get to really grow as a fighter. So, I mean, I guess there is no one aspect, but I like those three for sure. I still love to grapple. I grapple every single day. I could not go a day without doing jiu-jitsu, and I won't. But not that I don't love it still. But this stuff's new to me, so it's almost like addictive. I'm trying to catch up fast and get better. And it's fun, man. What a blast.
For all the sort of youngsters coming through, what would your advice be to those wanting to succeed in MMA?
I would find a good coach
and
a good support system. I think that's the biggest thing is I hate seeing it, and you see it, where we're from down here in the Carolinas is like small towns. And you see guys that you don't have to be a successful fighter to be a great coach, and we know that. But you have to have a path to get these guys to success. And we see these guys prey on these younger guys because they want to go on road trips or they want to go corner a fight and feel important. And I think that's dangerous. I see that with guys, or I see a guy that has a 4-5 pro record. Instead of his coach telling him to get a job, you're in your late 20s now, it's time to start thinking about after fighting. You can still fight, but don't wait for a call from Dana anytime soon. Instead, he's in his ear going, no. You only have to, he's not being realistic saying, dude, you got to win 10 in a row to get a look at the Contender series, or seeing guys that are amateurs and their coaches tell them to quit their job. Like, you can have a part-time, full-time job and train to be a good amateur early pro. Like, you see that a lot because these coaches are rushing guys through. And I had coaches that were doing that to me, trying to get me to go pro after one amateur fight. We can get the commission to write you a letter because you were a pro jiu-jitsu guy. It's like, yeah, but I don't have any wrestling or striking yet. Like, I think just be careful of those people. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in MMA. And I don't even think it's because they're bad people. I think sometimes people are misinformed and they don't want to say those three most powerful words there are for a coach, which is, I don't know. If you say that, I'll respect you so much more, or I'll find out. Those are now you'll be my coach for life because you're not going to lie to me ever and put me in the wrong, But I think we see that a lot. Guys that think they have all the answers. They don't want you to go to a wrestling coach, but they never wrestled. They want to teach you how to wrestle, but they never wrestled. Or they're a jiu-jitsu guy. They want to teach you how to strike because they don't want you to go to another gym and think it might be better over there. I'd just be very, very careful about that for the young up-and-coming fighters. And I didn't ever talked about it enough, and I think I'm going to make that my mission now is to definitely talk about it more. And then one day when I'm done, I want to coach because I've seen all that. And, especially having my own career now, when I'm done with that, it's going to be about the fighter. It's not about me. I have my time to get on TV or whatever it was, get my picture taken. Now it's about them. And I think if you can find those coaches, like I've got them, dude, it's all about you and you on the right path. They care about you as a human. But there's a lot of people that'll use you in the sport, and which is crazy because there's no real money on the lower level, but they'll use you for whatever they can get, man. A cool profile picture on Facebook goes a long way to some of these people.
Yeah, so just one final thing for me. It's not necessarily a question, it's just more of a message to you. I just want to thank you for your time and congratulate you on the birth of your child come September, and good luck on the fatherhood role because I know it's going to be tiring for you, mate. But yeah, that's all from me, Mason.
No, that's it from me. That's it from me as well. I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, Joe.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, I appreciate the well wishes, man. That's what I said on September. That baby comes out. That's like the glove touch. Now the fight starts. It's like, oh crap, this is an 18, 20-year fight. So I hope I got the gas tank for it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, take care, mate. Good luck.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.